Hello, welcome to the studio. Oh, so the whole studio is virtually bare now. Excuse my voice, I'm getting a bit of a cold, I think. So I've packed up nearly all of the pieces of artwork, but there's still some pieces left to work on, and those are oil paintings, which I'm going to finish one of them today. Then tomorrow, when they're a little bit more dry, and hopefully it's dry outside, I'll take them outside and then photograph them. It's always better to take your the photographs that you use to make prints with to actually take them outside. Well, I find it is anyway, because you've got the light source coming from every different direction. So you avoid, particularly with oil paints, the sheen and the texture effects that you get from the paint and the canvas sort of interacting together. So I prefer to take it outside. So I'm going to set up my brushes and my palette. And but first things first, what I'm going to do is roll up my sleeves because invariably I get paint everywhere. And pop on my apron. Try to protect clothing as much as I can. I do have some sets of clothes that I wear just for painting in, but it's not always practical. And this afternoon I've got just a couple of hours in between all sorts of family things, so I'm grabbing the time whilst I can. I'm sure we all know how that feels. So I use this is refined linseed oil, and I use it to as not water down. So obviously it's oil, and you can't water down oil. Well, you can just pouring it into a little pot on my table. It's a lubricant for the oil paint. So the oil paints themselves that I use are these ones. So they're actually called Griffin alkyds, and they're based on an oil. So when you mix linseed oil with them, it helps them to flow better. So I'm just going to find a nice dry space on my palette and pop out some white. Then I'll twizzle the camera around it a bit so you can see what I'm actually working on. So I need white. I need some cadmium yellow, green. I always mix my own colours. So I have got the basic primary colour set. I do like to use a bit of brown. I can mix brown. You can mix brown from the three primary colours. But this one is such a nice brown, burnt umber it's called, and it's a very natural colour. I like natural colours. I'm not one for sort of big, vibrant, bright colours at all. I know they're popular, but they just don't work for me. And then some yellow ochre. So yellow ochre is probably quite an old fashioned pigment. They used to make pigments and paints out of lots of things that you wouldn't be able to use today because of the toxicity. Um, I'm sure I said on a post recently, one I did learn was actually this one. So this is ivory black, and ivory black was made by taking the bones of animals from, say, after a feast, and grinding down the bones a little bit, but putting them in a fire, so basically burning them until they became charred and black. And then once they were charred black, you would grind them in a pestle and mortar and add maybe probably then back in medieval times, probably an animal fat of some kind, and mix it all together, and that would be what you painted with. So but now we don't have to do that, comes in convenient tubes. But it would be fun to actually make your own paints from scratch. So I've got on the palette, I've got white, I've got two different yellows, I've got brown, I've got black. I am actually going to use just a smidgen of Prussian blue because it gives that forest green, so yellows to make greens, yellows making greens give you oh, it's done that thing where it goes hard. Yellows give the green that's very like bright sappy greens, whereas blues give you the sort of the darker evergreen green colours, often called forest greens. So this colour dress, the green for this velvet dress is actually quite a yellowy green. Whereas I'm trying to find an example of this one in this painting here. I'll show you this painting here and twist it. These sort of darker greens here, these ones have got more blue mixed into them because that gives you that lovely sort of forest green colours. So that's enough talking. I'm trying to save my voice because I think it's probably going to go. I'm going to twizzle the camera around and show you the painting that I'm working on. Now I've called this session Fairie or Fairy, both pronounced the same, but two different ways of saying it, and I'm intrigued to know exactly what the difference is. So any comments that people have on whether it is Fairy or Fairy, I would be very interested to hear. So I'm just looking for the video camera. So we've got the camera now, and I'm just going to tilt things around a little bit, and hopefully you can see the painting. I've got one of these gooseneck things, and it's I think it got warped in the sun when I was painting in Ely. There we are. And it spontaneously pops the phone out of its socket, which is not very helpful. So this is the other key ingredient, is a good cup of coffee. So let's get comfy. Just move a few things out of the way. Given that I don't have a massive studio, so I have to make sure that I take advantage of my space. So what we're working on today is I'm going to make this even more dramatic than it is already. So in the daylight, it's quite nice, it's quite nicely balanced. But what I want to do is make this bit lighter and this bit a bit darker. So you've got like a ethereal glow coming from here, from behind the tree, and then on this side, this side of the tree needs to be brought. It needs some highlights putting all the way down here against the dark background. So I'm going to work on dark against light against dark, and then it'll all start to come together. So let's get mixing. Well, that's a nice cup of coffee. Let's pop that there. There's a great danger of dipping the brush in the coffee mug. So I'm going to start big and then work in. I mean, really, it will be easier for me to start sort of inside and then work out, but I want to get the colour balance right, so the colours I use on the dress go with the colours on the outside. And if I do need to work as I come in and I've got this wetness outside, then I use this brush that's become a bit stiff and, well, it's basically got dipped in things over the years, and I use it as a marl stick, like the old-fashioned stick where the old masters would rest the stick on a dry part of the canvas and then rest their hands so that their hands are steady, instead of trying to be freehand and it wobbles all over the place, unless you've got a very steady hand. Right, so I shall now shut up, and I'm dipping my brush into the linseed oil, and I'm going to mix a very light green, and it will be very light green. And first, I need to test the colour. It's a bit too yellow, so I want just a touch of brown in there and some blue until I make a better shade of green. But lighter. Let's try that one. Yeah, that's better. So now I'm going to mix it thicker. Sorry, this bit isn't very exciting to watch on camera, really, is it? Because you can't actually see me do anything. Let's try that. So I'm dabbing in white here, and you'll see why when I come to blend it. The magic is always in the blending. So now I need to come just up there a little bit, but not too much. Down there. And that's fine. And now I can start to come out quite dark from there. So I'm taking the same sets of colours and then mixing without white till I get some darker green. Basically the same green, but with less white added. And then as I come further out here, I'm adding in a bit more blue, so I'm becoming more forest green as I come out from behind the tree, until finally I'm hardly using any yellow at all. I'm using more brown and more blue. To get that dark green. And once I get the dark green that I like and I want for this edge, I'll come across with that, which I think I've probably got there actually. Yeah. Ah, yeah, that's perfect. Sorry if I'm a bit sniffy. I picked up a virusy coffee cold thing from somewhere. I hope it won't last very long. Right, so now I'm picking up some yellow ochre, which is a more gentle yellow. It gives a more khaki kind of green. And I need to go dark. I need to go really dark here now. That's better. Yeah, that's better. If you're wondering why I have this edge here, this is actually a print of another painting I did a few years ago, and I'm embellishing it over. And what I'm going to do is wrap this canvas around a board to be 12 by 16 inches. So it could be 12 by 16 inches. And the edge of this is exactly, this is 12 by 16 inches. So I just want to take the paint just over the edge so that when I wrap it, there's no white visible from the previous image. Oh, that's lovely. Some lovely colours there. And whilst I've got this dark, I can come over there now. I want that to really, really be quite dark there. But I've got light here, so I need dark there. It's always working dark against light against dark. It's always light against dark against light against dark, because that's how some of my favourite painters, some of the old masters painted. One in particular, I know I've mentioned a lot, is called Caravaggio. Well, was called Caravaggio, and his paintings were very much that sort of dark background, very almost black background, with very light figures, almost white. So they just looked, the skin became almost like luminous. Really, really stunningly dramatic paintings. So over here, I'm going very, very dark. Making sure that I've got plenty of linseed oil, because I'll be doing quite a bit of blending here. Right, so now I'm going to blend this together. And I'm going to be using this brush. Now, this is a special brush. It belonged to my great grandfather. So on my mother's line, so my mother's husband. And he was a sign writer. And I was gifted one of his brushes in his will many, many, many years ago. And back then, I didn't even really know how much I was going to become an artist. So must run in the family. So I'm going to use some blending and then keep the brush clean. I wanted to make it feel like there's a light that's emerging from the behind the tree. Just noticed a bristle there that's come out the brush. Get rid of that. There's another blob there. I might just put another run of white there and then brush it back in. Excuse me. Gives it a real ethereal quality, you see. Okay, I'm going to stop there. There's just one bit of brush. Lovely. And then come over this side, and then it's a bit more of a rougher blending. Just leave some of the shapes in of where the brush marks have come from. And then again, Just come up to the edge of the tree there. Put a dash more white there. There's a bristle there as well. I'm not happy with this bit here. I might need to just go in with some more colour actually. That's better. Leave that there. Right. Just need to put some highlights on this side of the tree. And then I can work on the foliage that overlaps the edge of the tree here, and just blend this down the side a bit more there as well. Excuse me. So hopefully now this is starting to look quite ethereal. I want it to look like it's got, you know, moss, sort of a mossy coat to the tree. And then down here, I'm going to bring in some ivy. So the tree looks really like furry now, which I'm happier with because it's like it's an ancient tree in a forest. And you can see where it's dark against light and dark against light, dark against light. It really makes it far more dramatic. Because you can go too far, I think. You can go too far the other way. I don't want it to come out looking like a negative. But I do want it to have a dark depth to it. I might have to dig out some more colour shortly. Yes, I am. So the colours that I need are some more of the brownie colour that I was using, the burnt umber, and a little bit more of my favourite ivory black because it gives that beautiful dramatic colour. And making a really dark green. Oh, that's lovely. Sometimes when when I mix a colour that I really like, it's really satisfying. starts to glow, you see, sometimes all you need is just little tiny accents of dark against light to really, really make it stand out. And then other times you need less. Like up here, that's too much there. Just going to blend it back. Just take it back a bit. That's better. Because the light's going to be coming like this way, isn't it? Well, hopefully from above in a forest, not from the floor. Although if light did come up from the floor, then something very mysterious is going on. Okay, I think it's time to swap to my ivy brush now. And my ivy brush is this one. And I'm just going to show you a few branches, and then I think I'll call it a day on the film from there, because it's quite a long time to sit and watch a full oil painting. But what I will show you is, this is where the marl stick comes in. So that's too much paint on the brush. And the minute that you add a dark against a light, it just starts to really pop. But as always, less is more. Definitely better. Oh, hopefully you think so. I love ivy. And people think that it's a horrible thing to have in their garden, but I love it. It's just a wall of mystery to me. And it's very popular with nesting birds. Got a pair of blue tits at the minute in the garden, and they look very much like they are building their nest building in the ivy. So I'm quite excited. I hope we have a nest. Oh, that's very magical. Ah, yes, that's lovely, that is. Right. So on that note, I'm going to swing the camera around and say cheerio for now. And I hope that you enjoyed watching that little exploration into chiaroscuro, which is light against dark, dark against light, and it adds that dramatic effect. I'll just give you one final example of that before I go, and that is to introduce you to this piece of artwork, which is probably one of my favourite ones so far. It's quite hard to actually get it angled correctly for the camera. Hopefully that's the best that I'm going to get it. But I love the the cat's eyes with the candle, and these potion bottles. I've actually uh, I've actually made these. They're 3D, so you can see how it gives that kind of 3D effect. Oh, I really can't get the hang of which way to move with this camera at all. Anyway, hopefully you can see. But I really love the cat's eyes in that one. I think it's probably the best cat's face I've ever painted, actually. So let's have that back on the wall. Right, so thanks for watching, and see you all soon. Bye for now.